Tony Shaw, look at the skills. Some people say he hasn't got many skills. The pick up and the left foot snap. Nathan Burke of St Kilda, a dodge and a snap for goal from near the boundary line. And another Saint, Peter McConville, a set shot from behind the boundary line.
He's tackled by a Collingwood player, gets around, and he's on his wrong foot, on the wrong side to kick the goal for a right footer, and he put it right through the middle.
He meant to centre it.
Should have centred. It was selfish, wasn't it, Kel?
Oh.
Why would you put McConville's in? Did McConville get it easily or not?
Well, when I looked at the goals, Don was there with me, and he said that was a great goal, so I thought I'd better back him up.
Well,
But no, actually, Ron, I thought he was on a very tight angle, looking at where he kicked the goal from, on the wrong side of the ground, and it was a very tight angle.
Yeah, what I'm saying is it's only a very good kick. The others are very good kicks plus very good gets.
How far?
Still, you don't.
Oh, come on, Ron, you are pedantic. That was a magnificent goal. McConville's.
Didn't say it wasn't.
They've moved the goal since you've played. It used to be easier when you've played, but now that pocket is very deep.
The goal's got larger or something.
They've moved it back. They've lengthened the ground, and it's a very tight angle.
Scotty,
It's easier now because they've got smaller balls.
Yes, Kel.
his theory.
Theory,
You would have used that theory that you kick a little bit towards one side of the centre.
Oh, yes.
I think McConville would have used that.
Well, Bernie,
Yes.
that's a bit sad, really. I've introduced you saying there's no dispute. You're chairman of the board now.
I just asked, that's all.
Certainly.
What his criteria were. I'm learning all the time.
So
You
Nathan
sure
Burke,
Glad I came
Nathan
back to
Burke,
this
according to Bernie Quinlan, is the goal of the week. You've met the panel. They've all had something to say. We'll be back to discuss all of them. To Kelvin Moore.
Thank you, Drew. Yes, well, Collingwood did accomplish one thing yesterday. That was getting back on the winning list, but they were very unimpressive in doing it. They can really only thank a few individual performances, that namely of their centre line in the last quarter of Barwick, Shaw and Brown. They were instrumental in getting Collingwood back on the rails, along with Manson, his tireless performance in the ruck. McGuan, ruck roving, he picked up something like 40 possessions, and young Rosonico, a new player this week, had a bit of a steady influence on that back line, which is starting to look shaky. Tony Shaw here celebrated his 200th game with a fine game, and he really led from the front, as did Manson. Taylor had a good battle with Frawley at the full forward, full back position. I thought probably Frawley won on the day, although Taylor did contribute 4 goals. Barker, we see there, came on and showed a bit of his old form when he came on to replace the injured Bob Jones, and he went to centre half forward, and he was a good contributor. But really, there's a lot of improvement to be done by Collingwood if they are to be a force in the finals.
Kel, have they got enough depth in reserve? Because they've only tried about 32-odd players this year, Collingwood, as against a lot of other clubs, 40, 38. How did their reserves play, and have they got anybody in that reserve side to come up and cover for some injuries?
Well, I suppose that they got a couple of named players, namely Cloak and, say, Hawke in the reserves yesterday. The reserves did win. I think there's still room for Cloak, because I thought he's been fairly harshly dealt with, because I think his form wasn't that bad when he was actually dropped. But whether they've got players to take the position of their trouble spots at the moment, say Christian and Starcevic, who are down on form, I doubt very much.
Did they swap those two yesterday?
Well, they both ended up on the bench for the entire last quarter, so they're certainly...
So who do they play in those two key positions?
Well, Morwood was shifted to centre half forward in the second half, and it was a good move. And centre half back, well, they swapped around quite a bit with different players, so no one there for any period of time.
Paul Hawke's a good example, though, of what's happened to Collingwood, isn't it, in the last month? I mean, he was a very good player in the first half of the season, and he's got a few mates who are down on form.
Well, form and confidence. I think, you know, a lot of them do rely on confidence, and, you know, the players I mentioned and Hawke.
Are they being put more under the microscope now?
Well, one part, but also I don't think they like the heavy tracks.
And I think, you know, they're still lacking those mobile little players, which are real genuine pace. So that's going to be a problem for them, because I can't see them getting away with tagging the opposition Rovers and hope to win a premiership with that system.
They did that earlier, didn't they?
They did it well,
Harrison,
but I don't think it's something that you can continue on, particularly in finals. Would you like my votes? I gave one vote to Mick Dwyer. I thought he was a good contributor for 3 and a bit quarters, and picked up many possessions. Tony Shaw, as I said, another great captain's performance, and Michael McGuan, who picked up a multitude of possessions and put in a really top 4 quarters.
Thank you, Kelvin. North Melbourne.